Hello, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. You are checking out the Strong Body, Strong Soul show right now. I am Maria, but in the spirit of Cinco de Mayo and in the spirit of sharing other people, that is my favorite thing to do, you guys. I love sharing other people, so I invited a few podcast friends to stop by for a little visit in honor of Pedro, my first guest here. I'm wearing my hat. It's a Tex-Mex kind of day. You'll hear why in just a minute. Here comes Pedro. Let's see here. Pedro.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am super excited. Thank you for inviting me on this awesome event.
Yay! I have a couple of people in the wings right now that are getting kind of set up. But Pedro, tell us where you are from.
Okay. You mean originally?
Well, where do you live right now? How about that?
So I live in La Porte, Texas. That's just right under Houston. And
awesome.
But my hometown is like Padre Island, Corpus Christi area.
Okay.
That's where I was born and raised, and my parents, my mother is from Mexico, and my father is from Portugal. So they met at a dance in Texas.
Wow. Vamos a bailar.
Sí. Vamos a el biblioteca con Juanita.
Now, you guys, Pedro and I met because we were both on the Anchor podcasting platform. Pedro, what's your show called?
It is called My Stuttering Life, where just basically I talk about my 43 years on this earth as a person who stutters. And so I cover everything that happens to people who stutter, like on the daily, on the hourly, on the minute.
Yes.
like talking on the telephone or going through drive-thrus or ordering at a restaurant. I mean, we have to work like 20 times harder to do things that most other people do quite easily.
Yeah. That's amazing. I was so drawn to your show because I love your energy. I love the guests that you have on.
Thank you. They are all people who stutter. So I have speech therapists, I have entrepreneurs, I have authors, I have TEDx speakers, I have housewives, it's just phenomenal. And they're global. They are from Australia, from Germany, Scotland, Ireland, England, Mexico, Brazil. And my goal of the podcast, it was to let other people who hold on.
Alcohol helps, apparently.
To let other people who stutter know that they are not alone.
Excellent. That's making me want a sip of my sangria here.
I'm telling you. It's
5 o'clock somewhere. Oh, well, it's 5 o'clock where you are.
No, it's actually 4 o'clock right now.
Oh, well, we're a little early.
Yeah, it's okay. It's always good to be early.
Yes.
It's always good to be early. As I started meditation
excellent.
meditating, and
excellent.
And it has completely changed my life. It's really awesome.
Awesome. We have a new guest coming on right now. Here is Yovy Daniels right here. Yovy D. Hi.
Hey,
Yovy. I like it. How are you? No problem. Hello. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. How are you?
Hello. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yovy, this is Pedro. He's in Texas right now. He lives in Texas.
Oh, wow. Texas group. Sweet.
Yes. Yeah.
I like his setting.
Oh, isn't it pretty?
Yes.
His show is great. It's My Stuttering Life. He talks about what it's like to be a stutterer, I guess, for your whole life. He talks to really successful people sometimes, just beautiful people. The energy over there is great. He has funny stories about situations that have happened to him. It's hysterical.
That is awesome.
There, it's Martha. It's Martha.
Hey, Martha.
Hi, everybody.
So, Martha, where are you right now?
I'm actually sitting in my car getting ready to go upstairs to go to work.
Wow. Wow. Martha, what is your what is your work? What are you doing right now?
Well, I actually have on my business side, I am a caregiver. So when I was a caregiver for my mom, I don't know if you do, I took care of my mom for over 10 years when she had dementia.
Okay.
So I started a nonprofit organization for caregivers because I was thrust into it unexpectedly, being the only child of my mom. And caregiving is not one of these positions that you are highly recognized. And until you are really doing it, you don't really understand and comprehend what caregiving is. So I started a nonprofit organization, speed up the process. And I've been doing that for the last like 15, 16, 17 years.
It's
your heart.
Yeah. And Martha, obviously that's an essential service right now. Whatever kind of safety precautions are in place, you need to get out there.
Yes,
People, of
yes.
course.
It gives you a whole nother, and having thankfulness of your family and loved ones, because I've seen people pass away, unfortunately, and it's been really difficult for families. And talking to families on the phone and telling them that their loved one has passed, working with hospice nurses and doctors, and it's been really a transition moment in my life that I've learned a lot. New level. It's been a new level, a whole new level.
That's amazing. Now, and Martha, we have Pedro here on the screen with us. He's in Texas right now.
Hi, Pedro.
Yeah.
How are you, Martha?
I'm doing very well.
Now, Martha, tell us, what is the name of your podcast? And did you start it to help raise awareness for the care that you do?
So the name of my podcast is Martha's Place. And yes, that is one of the reasons why I did start the podcast, to inspire and encourage and uplift anyone who's in caregiving. Need to be inspired. They need to be uplifted. And especially during this time, you know, it's just been really crucial, been a crucial time for families and people, you know, in this pandemic. And like I said, experiencing this has really taken me to a whole nother level of gratitude.
Beautiful, beautiful. That has been on my mind. That always is. Just, we need both extremes in life. We need to talk about the funny, silly stuff with my sangria here.
Yes.
And we need to talk about death and grief. Yes. It's just, it's all a part of life. And look at Pedro over there. And just to raise some awareness, alcohol apparently helps with stuttering.
FYI. It's a secret.
My Serenity Sunday, where I always focus on other podcasters, because I always was very appreciative of speaking with other podcasters and what they have done and what they're doing on their podcast. So yes, I will be regenerating everything. Even my children's like, Mom, you really got to get back. And it's about each one. Yes.
I really appreciated you interviewing me on your show a while ago. And so many times when I go and listen to your interviews, they resonate with me so deeply that I love calling you and leaving you messages, because I love bouncing the energy around out there in audio land. You know, we've had a chance to meet in person, but Pedro and I, we've never even talked on the podcast directly. We've messaged each other back and forth and sang sometimes.
Pardon me. Where can I find your podcast?
It is on Anchor. It is Martha's Place. It's called Martha's Place.
Okay. Now, Martha, because it's on Anchor, though, isn't it everywhere else as well?
It's everywhere else, absolutely. Yes.
So
whatever
don't
platform
forget
that Anchor has.
Exactly. Yeah, and you never took down any of your episodes, right? Are they all still up?
No, everything is still there.
So you
everything
guys,
is still there.
Please go check out Martha's Place. She has a beautiful voice and a wonderful spiritual quality about her that really comes through in such love and gratitude on her show.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Really, and if you are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, Castbox, Breaker, Spreaker, Stitcher, I forget what
all
else.
Of them.
All of them. Look for Martha's Place. Yes, she has some amazing interviews.
Oh, I appreciate you, my love.
And Yovy, you have the Apple Podcast icon behind you there. Help Martha
Yeah,
out
cool.
too. Yes, Apple Podcasts, Martha's Place, My Stuttering Life. Yovy, what is your podcast?
My podcast is about it's a business variety entertaining show where I kind of bring across a lot of entrepreneurs, or people that have been in corporate America that decided to venture out. And I think more than ever, we're going to have another spur of new people with this whole new era, or the new
Yes.
normal. Really, for some people, they seem that we're gearing to digital. Some people may be seen being pushed into it. But it's been around for a while, but it's bringing us the way that we do things in our daily lives, more awareness and what they use and everything. Yeah.
Well, I what's the name of your podcast, Yovy?
The one, Yovy D. Yovy D is in English. I have the English podcast. And then I also have one in Espanol. I'm Latina, so I have Chombita Chronicles that I just had one of my guests, Hugo Torres,
Yes.
Paus.
Yes,
He
yes.
was we had such a great time, and a complete Spanish speaking podcast in Spanish.
Oh, so cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You gotta venture out.
That's so
That's my
cool.
message,
Well, that's what's so key about
Absolutely.
podcasting too.
And I think
even
about
though-
all of us.
Yeah. Even though you're in Los Angeles, your voice reaches all over the place too. And especially for Spanish speaking, you get a lot of requests for Spanish speaking podcasts.
And it's been a pleasure meeting everyone and talking to you. I must go.
Thank you
All
so
right.
very much, Martha, for taking a minute to
Thank you,
stop
Martha. You take care.
by.
Be well.
Okay, and I'll be talking to and reaching out to each and every one of you.
The technology is always a little bit, Pedro and all of us. I went to go see Marianne Williams a little while ago, and she was talking about her experience running for president. But one of the things she was talking about was the fact that she didn't regret doing it at all. She never really expected to win. It was just to help boost people and give them some encouragement to talk about issues that a lot of people are afraid to discuss.
Correct.
And she was really talking to the spiritually minded people out there that are really kind of shy and don't speak up and are afraid of technology. And a
We
lot
know
of
those
people, I mean, a lot of them, they don't go on Facebook, they don't go on Twitter. It's all bad and disconnecting. And obviously, now that we're in this situation, of course, we all have to use it.
Just set up my own iPhone, and I did the Apple Pay because it's this situation of social distancing, certain, limiting contact. And at first I was like, oh my God, my credit card in my phone. But then you know what happened? I left my wallet at home twice, and I was so grateful that I had my card on my phone to pay for groceries. That was kind of a relief. But then the other token is that, that sense of connection and, and then you're like, okay, because we have to be careful with our hands, washing your hands, or you wearing gloves. And it really gives you that advantage and safety. But at the same token, there's something in you that is like, it doesn't feel normal. Or
it's
like,
going to take a while. It's going to take a while for us all to get used to it. Let me hold on and introduce Teniecka. There's Teniecka there. Teniecka is joining us.
Hey, she's there.
Yeah, Teniecka, Martha from Martha's Place was just with us, and now you're in her little box here. It's perfect. Tell us. We'll go through the intro. Tell us about your show. What is your podcast called?
Okay, well, the first one, God's Gift to His Word, and I always talk about hard things, talking about faith and also just adversity. So some of the stuff we go through, just using the Lord's Word to face the challenges like this pandemic. We definitely need to focus on a higher power than ourselves because we can't fix this. This is nothing I can't fix.
Yeah.
I'm about to do two things while I'm pushing. I'm about to be on radio. So
nice.
Yeah, so there's two avenues. One, Loving Arms and Families, going to be on KLBPP out here in 99.1, and then God's Gift to His Word is going to be on 2 radio stations in Tupelo, Mississippi, and in Shreveport, Louisiana, where they told me Elvis Presley was born in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
The king.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh my gosh. Wow. So are those through connections that you made through podcasting?
Yeah, one of those connections, Pastor Jay, you know him, Maria.
Yes,
Give him a
yes.
hug.
From the podcast explosion event in October, we were just saying you did such a phenomenal job. You guys, people flew in from out of state to come to the event. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So yes, so Pastor Jay is his name, right? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was fun. He was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think podcasting in general, I think, gives us all a sense of confidence and clarity in our mission, in what we're trying to communicate. And so it's so amazing. It's amazing, by the way, you guys, thank you so very much for coming on to this show right here. A lot of podcasters don't get together like this, I don't think, because we all want to be the one talking. And so, you know, as much as we want listener feedback and messages, you know how I am. I love messengers. Oh my gosh, especially when people like Pedro sing when they call in. But it's really interesting to have a real conversation about it. It's fantastic. Pedro, how has your life improved since podcasting? Have you noticed any changes?
It has been an eye-opener, because when I started podcasting in last year, my goal was that, you know, if I just, you know, helped one person, then, you know, I've done my job.
Yeah.
But I have received emails from all over the world, all over the globe, telling me that they thought they were the only one in this whole world that had a stutter. And when I talk about, you know, activities of daily living, like, you know, making a phone call, everyone can relate if you have a stutter, because to us, the phone is a nemesis, because we have to prepare, we have to breathe, we have to focus. And then what there was this great book by Mel Robbins called the 5-second rule. And that book completely changed my life, because I turned my fear and my anxiety into excitement. That way I would tell my brain, I cannot wait to hop on the phone. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to have the best time ever. And when I did that, it was just awesome. I was able to talk on the phone and make phone calls, and then doing presentations. In her book, she talks about counting backwards: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So I use that every single time I have to do something that I know I will have a hard time with. And then in March of this year, I spoke at Podfest in Orlando, and I mean, I was my title was the stuttering podcaster. And so I got up there, and, you know, I talked about what I do, and it was just phenomenal. I could feel the love of the entire audience, and they were rooting for me, and they were hooting and they were hollering, and it was amazing. And so I mean, you know, I can't wait to get behind the mic. I can't wait to just talk about a story that I had experienced in my 43 years of stuttering, because this year I'll turn 50.
Wow.
But I feel like I'm 12 years old. But
just 12.
12, 13, you know. So what I do is I jot down, um, going through my day, I will get like a trigger from anything, you know, a cologne, a color, or whatnot. And so in my head, I'll just go back to, oh, well, I had a hard time at a bank, and so I'll jot down, talk about the banking story, and so basically for a period of my life, I wasn't talking. I wrote everything down on a piece of paper and gave it to the person.
Wow.
For example, at Taco Bell, when I was hungry, I could not tell my order when I walked in. So I would write everything down and give it to the cashier. I didn't have to say anything. It was all there. I paid. I was good to go. But one day I went to a bank. Not even knowing what I was doing, I wrote on a white piece of paper, I need to cash this personal check. Thank you. So I'm in line. I'm in a bank. I'm in line, and then it's my turn. I go up to the window, and out of habit, I give the teller the note. Well, her eyes get all big, and she must have pushed a button that they have under their desk.
No.
Oh no.
Because here comes a guard
Oh my God.
Oh.
coming up behind me. Now,
Oh my God.
now I'm a stutterer, so I can't even
Oh.
say my name. And so
Oh,
here
no.
I am. I'm looking over my shoulder. Here's this big cop asking me to follow him into this room.
Oh.
Oh,
So, not only I'm not able to speak, I think my heart stopped.
Yeah.
And so I walk into this office, and then he's, joined by other policemen and the bank manager, and then the teller. And she still has the note in her hand. She hasn't even opened it, and she
Oh,
still
my
has
Lord.
it in her hand. So I'm in this office with these policemen. I think I lost like 20 pounds right then and there. And so the bank manager takes the note, he opens it, and he reads it. And he's like, "What's this?" And so by then I said, I better talk or I'm going to jail. So I said, I have a speech impediment. I stutter. And so this is how I communicate. And thank goodness they understood, because this will not do well in prison. And so I was praying to the Lord. Let me tell you, I was praying to the Lord. I said, I got to get these words out, or Pedro going to go to the big house.
Wow.
I don't do well in the big house. And so, on my podcast, I talk about those life stories that happened to
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and so at the time, it's life altering. It's terrifying because I may go to prison. But in
Right.
hindsight, I just laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have gone to jail.
Wow.
I could have been tackled or tasered or whatever. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah. So
That's great.
it's my
That's
life.
great. Well, you know what? You're reminding me of just the whole message of our weaknesses sometimes turn out to be our biggest strengths. And nothing is truer than that for all of us. We all have something that we've always been afraid to talk about or do. And then we do it and get past this hurdle. And sometimes we need a little bump. Let me move to Teniecka. Your whole story. Tell us about your book. Tell us about your book real quick. We don't have that much time, but I want to hear about because that's really propelled you forward.
Yeah, and it's about domestic violence and having my faith to push through. People don't understand what it actually takes to leave something like that. And if they understood, they wouldn't be the ones that say, just pack up your crap and just go. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And I worry for the women and the men that are trapped because of the COVID-19. They're not going anywhere.
Right. And just so everybody who's watching is aware, Teniecka has a book. What's the name of your book, Teniecka?
The Gift of Finding God's Love, Guilt and Shame Turned into My Shine.
Okay. And she had to escape a domestic violence situation with her children in tow. And that is what her life is about. Also, I think, Teniecka, it's interesting. Are your kids special needs as well?
Actually, yeah, I have three. I have three now because one just got diagnosed with a special learning disability. So I have a child who has autism, one who has ID, was an intellectual disorder, and then another one has a specific learning disability.
Okay, and I just want to say, you are exactly the kind of person too that even Pedro's podcast would help, because he's an adult with a disability. So it's got to give parents out there hope that, and the people that he interviews are amazing. They're really all about success, entrepreneurs, authors, amazing people out there. So Teniecka, it's interesting because just meeting Pedro, I hope, is sparking you a little bit. Your kids are going to be okay. When they're 30 years old, when they're 50 years old, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They're going to find love out there in the world. They're going to find support.
And that's what I'm waiting for. And I'm glad that you introduced me to Pedro, because I just the world can be so cruel.
Yeah.
The world can be so cruel that I just don't want
you had better preach, Teniecka. You better preach.
She's great.
Because, I tell you.
She's great.
Pedro, you give me so much encouragement with your story, what you've gone through, but you just handle it so masterfully that I know that as an adult, as you are, my kids coming up behind someone like you, you have laid the platform for them. You have already dealt with the cops before my child is 20 years of age. And why are you having this autistic tantrum? Why are you falling down? Let's shoot you in the head. No, you don't. They have to understand this is a person with a disability. Let's see if we can find someone that understands. And because Pedro already laid the foundation, and people like him are laying the foundation, they're getting in front of the cops and they're like, no, I've got something going on. And if you listen to me, don't put your hand on your gun, you can understand what I'm doing.
Yes.
And I appreciate you. I
love that.
I don't want to cry, but I appreciate it. I do.
Thank you so much. You guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up, but I just so appreciate you guys so very much. Once again, we have Teniecka Drake on here, God's gift through his word. We have Yovy D, the Yovy D podcast. We have Pedro Pena with the My Stuttering Life podcast. All of our podcasts. I'm Maria, by the way. Did I say I was Maria?
Hello, Maria.
Strong Body,
Maria.
Strong Soul. Strong Body, Strong Soul is the name of my show. And I talked about diversity, variety, compassion, full range of life. That's why we should do these more often, because there are some amazing podcasters out here. If we had 20 of us on here, it would be too busy. This is kind of a good number. And I love the way you guys mix it up. You haven't met Pedro before, but right there we're making connections. The audio platform is such a beautiful gift from God for us to connect with people across the globe, wherever they are, no matter what color they are, no matter if they're, Martha was on here a moment ago. She's a caregiver for older people. She's eking out a little bit of time. She was on here with us on the show. Look for Martha's Place out there as well. She's filled with gratitude, and so am I. Thank you for being here. Yes, Pedro.
Where can I buy your book, Teniecka?
Oh, you can get it at Barnes & Noble, Pedro, or on Amazon.
Okay. I got you, Teniecka. I got you.
I
support you.
I support you.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Have fun today, wherever you are.
Thank
you for tuning in, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all take care. Be well.